If you wanted to make a statement in the late 90s, you would buy this car. This is E38 BMW 7 Series. It is the best 7 Series ever made. Back then in 1999, this would cost you $67,000, which in today's money equates to over $130,000. But today, 25 years later, this car worth around 3 grocery runs to your local Costco store. In this video, I will show around the best 7 Series ever made, the most beautiful sedan ever made. And by the end of the video, you will know some fascinating facts about this car. And of course, the first thing I want to talk about in this tour of this beautiful car is the fact that it is beautiful. It is, in my opinion, the most beautiful sedan ever made. Well, except maybe Golden Era from Aston Martin, but that car is unavailable to probably all of us in this world. But this car is for sure available, like I said, for 3 grocery runs to your Costco store, but you cannot duplicate the beauty of this car on any other cars that have been made since this car's inception, to be honest. Look at the lines. Even though this is a 740iL version and it has the rear door so much bigger than the front door, in a lot of people's opinion, it's kind of messes up the whole design, the whole line, the side line of this car. But in my opinion, nothing, even bigger door, disproportional rear door, can mess up the design of this car. The beauty, the lines from every corner, front or in, from sides, you look at it, it is just absolutely gorgeous. And the front end, I like how gradually goes down and then converts into these beautiful headlights, the obviously iconic grille from BMW, the golden era of BMW. And then these multi-spoke classic BMW wheels. Just, I cannot say enough how much I absolutely adore the way this car looks. And then these classic timeless taillights in the back. The rear end in general is just so beautiful from every angle. As I already said, you look at it and it is just gorgeous. God, I'm in love with this car. I'm always erect.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Sorry for my French, but I am always down to look at this car for literally minutes and minutes and minutes and just spend time silently with this beauty. Like I said, this is the 740iL version. Here in North America, 740 was the base model of 7 Series, which is crazy because in Europe, they got 730, 728, I believe. So they had diesel versions, they had gasoline versions, but in the US, we only received 2 versions, 740 with the V8 and 750 with the V12. But L meant obviously long. So this is a long wheelbase with a bigger rear door, and that just equates to the bigger rear seats and rear space of this car. And while we're here in the back, let's talk about the trunk, because big trunk, which this car has, was one of the biggest selling points. People who were buying these cars needed a bigger trunk, obviously for golfing reasons, but I absolutely love how this trunk closes itself. It's from that era when trunks used to suck themselves in luxury cars, including BMW. So when you press the keyhole, which I love, you open the trunk and it is massive. And right away, there is a plaque that literally says, illustration of 4 stowed golf bag. You can stick 4 massive golf bags here in the back and they show you how to do it. And then the trunk has this emergency little folder where you can see all of the tools probably never touched by previous owners, which is amazing to see. These are the times when you were able to still work on your BMW, not probably anymore, but it's cool to see all these tools from the factory. And as I mentioned, the trunk is absolutely massive. There's this net where you can put something down so it doesn't roll around here. But other than that, there is nothing really interesting besides the fact that it is massive. But again, watch this. When you bring the trunk down and slightly close, it just sucks itself in. Check this out again. You just slightly close it and then it sucks itself in again. I just love this. Beautiful. Now let's talk about another selling point of this specific car is the back seat. From this angle, you can probably tell, yes, it is a bigger rear door, but does it really mess up the whole sideline of this car? I do not think so. Anyway, as you enter the back seat, you open this door. It is absolutely massive, but that was the point, because in the back here, you have so much leg room. I'm 6'3", so I have pretty long legs, and I can really relax here in the back and just enjoy these absolutely comfortable seats. So much leg room, so much knee room, so much headroom. That was the point. And then obviously in the door, we have the ashtray. We have very deep little pocket door here, and then there's a main pocket door, and then these sunshades were very obviously luxurious to have in 1999. And then the carpeting here is very soft, not as soft obviously like Bentleys or Rolls-Royce even from this era, but still this was the pinnacle of luxury back in 1999, wasn't it? And another fascinating fact about BMW, specifically 7 Series from this era, 7 Series was the first car to ever receive built-in TV in the back seat. This was absolutely unheard of at the time. This specific car doesn't have it. It was an option for it, but it was 7 Series, the E38, this generation, that brought built-in TV inside the car, which is absolutely crazy. And to be honest, it is not surprising to hear that BMW was the first one to bring the built-in TV inside their cars. Nowadays, it might be Tesla that is bringing cutting-edge technology into vehicles, but back in the days, it was BMW. And BMW used to be the first, not just technology-wise, but also when it came to safety. This car, the E38 7 Series, was the first car ever to offer curtain airbags. How cool is that? Anyway, besides the sunshades, the massive rear space, the comfortable seats, here's what else we have in the back of this 7 Series. Obviously, the climate control vents. You can actually control the temperature here and the fan speed, which is nice. And then we have door pockets. This one is a little saggy, but you know, it's 25 years old. In the middle, we have this massive headrest. You pop it up and there's enough storage here to store some bigger stuff. And then in the middle, we have probably most unusable cup holders I've ever seen, but at least they're there. And then there's a first aid kit, which portrayed pretty nitty here. You pop that little gear, and I actually never opened the first aid kit. It actually branded as BMW first aid kit. That's pretty cool. Probably was never used since this car was bought, but it is fascinating to see all the amenities they put and necessities into these first aid kits. I'm not sure if new cars still have them. I don't think so. I'm not really interested in new cars, but this is pretty nifty. Now let's move up front. Even in 7 Series, which was more a car for being chauffeured around, even in this car, the dash was turned towards the driver. Even the driver that was hired to drive you around was enjoying this ride while he was chauffeuring you. How cool is that? What a thought, BMW. With that being said, I always admired and always enjoyed sitting in front of this gauge cluster and this dash from this era of BMW, the orange light that illuminates the gauge cluster and the central control system. It is just so timeless in my opinion and so classy, and it's never tiring. In this specific car, the original infotainment system, or the attempt, even though this was the first car with a built-in satellite navigation system, just awesome, but it was replaced in this car. I obviously prefer it nowadays to be driven with the car that has the Apple and CarPlay. I don't like new cars, but I do like that specific technology, and this car has it, and it makes it to own this car just a bit easier. Another fact that worth highlighting, the steering wheel is power controlled, power operated, which was a pretty new thing at the time. This was a cutting edge technology, and it is not surprising to see this feature in the most luxurious car of BMW lineup. And this, I believe, was one of the first cars ever to offer power operated steering wheel, which is pretty cool. It still works in this car 25 years later. And that's the thing about this car, the cars from this era, everything is just feels so solid and firm and reliable, and it's nice to press every single button. You know it's not gonna get sticky or ruined, and everything still works. That's what I love about Golden Era of BMW. And speaking of Golden Era, before we talk powertrain, it is worth highlighting once again. I'm pretty sure you heard of Golden Era of BMW so many times, but this was the top dog of the BMW lineup. One of the most iconic ones, along with Z8, the E46, the E39, the X5 was coming out. If you think about it, the Golden Era of BMWs, think of James Bond movies. James Bond movies are known for having the coolest, the most beautiful classic cars in their movies. And James Bond movies from this era had not one, but two BMWs. That tells you a lot. They had a gorgeous Z8 BMW in it, and the only four-door car that was highlighted in James Bond movies, in any James Bond movies, was the E38. It was badged, interesting fact, as 750 IL, but in reality, it was the 740 IL, this specific model that was in a James Bond movie. Another pop culture item worth highlighting is obviously the E38 was in the Transporter movie that made Jason Statham super famous. And another worthy pop culture item that worth to be touched on is the unfortunate one, the E38 750 IL owned by Tupac that was gunned down and unfortunately he got killed in it. And giving those three appearances of E38 in the pop culture scene makes this car iconic in my opinion and super undervalued for what it is. And I know why undervalued they are has to do with the fact that it is a old BMW, and old BMW is always associated with being unreliable. But this specific car, if you take care of it, how solid it is built, it could run forever. And by forever, I mean like maybe 200 something thousand miles or more. Speaking of unreliable, now let's talk the powertrain. We're gonna start that with popping the hood, which you unlatch it once on the inside, and then second time you do it on the outside, right here by the grille, and there you see the massive, glorious V8. It might seem like a massive V8, and it is, but by no means it is a powerful one. It only has 282 horsepower, which doesn't seem like a lot, and to be honest, it is not. But torque figure is higher, and it is rated at 325 pound-feet of torque, and that is probably why it does feel a little faster than it actually is. But with 282 horsepower and V8 and that torque figure, it is very enjoyable to drive this car around. But its bigger brother, the V12 version 750 IL, was the top of the line E38 7 Series here in North America. And this version, the 740i or IL, was the base model. That's kind of cool and interesting. Anyway, if you want to learn how this car drives, how much I paid for it, and what I'm gonna do with this car, watch this video here.